Okay, I'm just making this video for any of you that have had problems putting error bars into your graph or inserting a best fit line and being able to insert a best fit line that you can manually adjust to fit the error bars. So let me go through a few things. So I've just put some data in here. I've made some values up that give approximately a straight line. So the first thing, if you want to put a straight line through your data, you're going to go up to this curve fit, click on it, and you can put a linear line in, try a fit. Now, rather than automatically fitting it, which is it will give you the best fit possible, what I'm going to get you to do right now is to go to a manual fit. Now, it's automatically fitted it here, but what we can do when we click a manual fit is if I go onto this box up here and double click, okay, I can enable a line drag. And what I can do with that is I can position it in different places. Now, at the moment, there's no reason for me to want to do that. But when I've put error bars in, I could give myself a maximum gradient and a minimum gradient through those error bars in order to get an idea of what the errors in the experiment are. Okay, so in terms of error bars, let's say I want to put error bars in for my y variable. So remember, each point at the moment is being positioned as an exact value. Well, we know that every measurement we take in physics has some kind of uncertainty. So I'm going to add error bars to the y variable to represent that. Now, the easiest way to do that is to give all of your values the same error. So if I click on my graph and go to column options, whichever variable I want to add the error for, so I'm going to do it for the y variable here, but I could equally do it for either. And I click open this manual columns. Now, you see here, I've got error bar calculations in here. When you first go on, it won't be checked. So you check it and you can use either a column we'll come to in a minute or a constant. Now, I've chosen here 0.06 just because it's something you'll be able to see clearly on the graph. So in some experiments, we've got a constant error in our variable. So the easiest thing to do is to just put that value in here. So I could change this to 0.07. I click it on and notice all of my points have got the same error bar. Now, what I can do now is I could, for example, adjust my my gradient of my line to make it the steepest line that can possibly go through all of the points. So you see, I go from the bottom of this error bar here on the left to the top of this one, nearly the furthest on the right. That's the steepest line I could get through all of them. If I wanted, I could put a second best fit line through as well, another manual one. In fact, sometimes it's better to try the fit automatically, then turn it manual, and it will turn up in a better place. Okay, and then with this again, I click on it, I enable the line drag, and I can turn this one into the lowest grade. I think I've grabbed the wrong one there. The lowest gradient of all of them. In fact, I need to move them apart because I keep getting one instead of the other. So I'm going to have one line, which is going to be the highest gradient that can go through all of my points, and one that's going to be the lowest. I'm just going to take this one right the way off for a minute. So I think does it go for all of them? Yeah, just about. That would be my lowest gradient line. And this will be my highest gradient line. So basically what I know from that data, the maximum possible gradient I could use that goes through all this data is one of my lines, and then the minimum is the other. And the great thing about LoggerPro is it tells me what the gradients of this will be. So I know the gradient of this data must be between 0.18 and between 0.21. Now, what about, though, if I don't want all the error bars to be the same and I want a difference? Well, what I'm going to do is I have to add another column to my table, and I'm going to put the errors in there. So I go to Data and New Data Set. Now, notice I've got empty columns here. Now, I'm just going to paste in some values, okay? I've just made these up, but obviously on the experiment you did, you calculated these errors yourself. So I've made up a variety of errors here. Now, this time, instead of using the constant error, I'm going to choose that column. So I go back on, column options Y. This time, I'm not going to use the error constant. I'm going to choose a column, and I'm going to choose, I already had one I deleted earlier, but I used dataset 3x, which is actually the name of this column here. I put it on, and notice now I've got different sized error bars depending on the points. Okay, and then obviously I should really be putting my, resetting my max and min slopes here. It's much more difficult to get these ones for all of them because some of them are so small here. Okay, but that's the idea. We want to try and get lines that will go through all of these error bars. So you might have to